Hi, welcome to Basics Kempo 101. My name is Shihan Angelo, and I'll be your instructor for today. Today we're going to be working on a three-quarter stance, also known in Japanese as Zenkusudachi. First, let's go over the width of the stance. When you're practicing the width of the stance, what we want to do is, we want to get the width of the stance just shoulder width. Okay? A lot of people ask me, should it be the inside of the feet to the outside of the shoulder, outside of the feet to the inside of the shoulder? What we want to do is measure the blades of the feet to the outside of the shoulder. Just something comfortable, decent width. Okay? The length of the stance is going to be determined by the person's height. In other words, everybody's different height, so this is comfortable for me. When I'm training in kata, I want to take a traditional, deep and natural stance. I'm working the legs too, so this is good for training, and this would be good just for more mobility, moving a little faster. So I want that length for kata, and I want this maybe like when I'm doing basics in class. I don't have a deep stance where I can actually kick from and return. Something like this is I'm going to have to drag myself up out of that. Okay, so it's good for punching and it's good for conditioning. All right, it's Zenkusudachi, three-quarter stance. Right. Also want to go over how far the front knee should be bent, because I see all kinds of things when I'm watching a student training in this stance. Some people have the knee bent too far, some not enough. They're standing up straight, which I call stick legs. They stand up straight. What we want to do is we want to have the knee almost straight over the ankle, perpendicular. Okay? We want to try to have the back leg straight, not locked. That's locked. That's just straight. Very relaxed, but straightened out. And when I'm half mooning, what I want to do is I want to have that consistency in my stance. So when I half moon forward, I want to have that same length, right leg and left leg. Okay? So one way to do that is to make sure that that knee is bent only perpendicular above the ankle, not too far. Okay? So when I push off this back leg, when I step in, half moon, I keep my knees bent, and then I push off that back leg. And I should have that same consistency in the stance. So I'm going to do it from a side view so you see. Okay? This is the length. I'm going to half moon forward, and notice that I straighten the back leg. If I don't do that, if I half moon forward and I don't straighten that back leg, again, I don't have that consistency in the stance that I'm looking for. Just straighten that leg out, and you should have what you're looking for. Okay, I want to go over some common mistakes that people do when practicing Zenkusudachi, three-quarter stance. Again, the reason they call it a three-quarter stance because 3/4 of the weight will rest on the front leg. And the feet, just like when you take a neutral stance, your feet are straight. Remember we talked about that in the horse stance, okay? Stop pointing your toes out, knees stop buckling in, you get all kinds of things. So we want to start with the feet being straight because nobody walks like this, okay? So we're going to try to keep that feet straight, and then when I take that step back, I'll half moon back, feet stay the same. Even my back leg. This takes a little practice, especially if you're brand new in the martial arts. If you're a beginner, you have to have a little flexibility in your ankles. Most people in the beginning will turn their foot like this, and the next thing you know, they're sitting in a back stance. That knee ends up becoming bent, and we're not in a three-quarter stance anymore. So it's just simply turning your foot and then pushing off your back heel to straighten that leg out. And again, it's going to take a little bit of flexibility. You want to stretch out your calves a little bit there and be able to get your foot straightened. Also, we want to watch out, again, with the width of the stance. Another common mistake I see is narrow stances. Now, when you become more advanced, they have what they call bow and arrow stances, where the legs are almost lined up. You can see that I'm hiding my back leg behind. And this type of stance is used for quick turning. What we want to do is have a more direct three-quarter stance. Again, having that shoulder width we talked about earlier, shoulder width stance, and keeping that foot so that we can see it directly behind that left.